everyone, I'm Karen and welcome back to my channel for another episode of the Disney Library, which is a regular series in which I discuss books related to Disney in any way, shape or form. Today I want to talk about Walt Disney, an American original by Bob Thomas. This is the Hyperion edition from 1994. The original edition came out in 1976. This biography was published by Disney Editions as part of the D23 fan club kind of publication line that they do. And as a consequence, Bob Thomas had a lot of material like at his fingertips. He also had actually interviewed Walt Disney for a long, lengthy series of interviews before his death. So he has so much material to kind of work with, and I feel like it really shows in this book. This is the first Walt Disney biography that I've read, but I've done some research online and I felt like a lot of the biographies either describe them as this genius hero person or as evil. So it felt like there was not a lot of in between. And then Rob from Rob Plays here on YouTube recommended this as his favorite Walt biography, and so I thought this should be the first one I read. I got it for Christmas. I finally got round to get my eyeballs stuck in it, and I read it really fast actually. So let's have a chat. Now this biography starts even before Walt Disney was born. It tells of his family and especially his father, because his father, Elias Disney, was such a big influence on him as a person. So it charts his family's kind of journey to living in Kansas, which is where Walt was born and where he kind of grew up. It also has a really big section about Walt's life in Marceline, which influenced him for the rest of his life. And actually Main Street USA in Disneyland was kind of modelled on the main high street in Marceline. I just found it really interesting to kind of read about how people that were close to him saw Walt and saw him grow and what he thought of himself as well. What I love most about this book was the amount of direct quotes from Walt's relatives, from Walt's co-workers, from the people he did projects with, from, you know, people like animators all the way to his secretary and nurse at Disney, Hazel George, who especially at the end of his life was super close to him, and so they often, as she treated him for like neck and back related injuries, they would just chat. And you know, Bob Thomas got to interview her, and there's just so many little tidbits in there, and I feel like it gives quite a good view of what he was like as a person. Not perfect, but not horrible either. It was like a mixture of things. The book touches on his temper, it touches on the fact that he expected excellence and would not dole out praise for anyone. He was a bit of a difficult boss to work for probably, but at the same time it was quite exciting. So I really like that balance. I like the fact that it wasn't too idolizing or too negative. It felt like somebody who's very creative and very driven and very ambitious, who's made an incredible legacy for himself. There's also some really interesting photos in the middle of the book. You know, even from like the very first cartoons he did, little teenage Walt being adorable, the very first Mickey Mouse cartoon. I mean, oh, and I absolutely love this series of photos which shows Walt explaining how he wanted something to be done during a story meeting at the Disney Studios. That's the kind of thing that I wish there was more photos of. It really fascinates me, the whole creative kind of journey, and where the Disneyland story really goes into depth about the creation of Disneyland. This book is actually really in depth about Walt's time at the Disney Studios and the different films and his influence on those films and on the animators, on the story sessions. It goes so in depth about everything, and it goes all the way to the end, to his death, and also to part of his legacy. So all in all, I love this book. There weren't really any negatives for me. It's not huge, but it's also not short. I felt like there was enough time spent on each segment and each part of, you know, Walt's journey to becoming Walt Disney, but it wasn't so long that I thought, oh, please get me out of here. It's funny because I'm usually not a non-fiction reader at all, but give me something Disney related and apparently I'm really loving it. And I kind of wanted to end this video with just a little bit with like the end of the foreword that Bob Thomas wrote. Frank Thomas remarked that Disney always sought a positive atmosphere in meetings. If you said no to his proposal, he'd say, "Why the hell can't I do that? We're trying to get ideas here. Maybe we won't get any good ones, but we sure won't if you take a negative attitude. This is the Walt Disney his animators knew. An uncomplicated man. So, there you have it. That is it for today. Have you read Walt Disney an American Original, or have you read any other Disney biographies that you think I should read? Do let me know down below in the comments, and let's have a chat about Walt Disney, shall we? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to all of you very soon. Bye!